When a man deeply loves you, he'll start saying these key things. If you're tired of not knowing where you stand with a man, if he's deeply in love with you, if he's actually committed, or if he may be losing interest or just acting like he loves you, but he doesn't actually have that level of deep commitment emotionally to you, where we're going to help unveil that today from two male brains, two male hearts. Going to give you the insights, the goods into what men actually think and feel starting today. So I'm Brody Boyd, if you don't know me already. For over 20 years combined with my wife, Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get a loving, long-term committed relationship. And we have Kevin as well today.
Yes, I'm Kevin Anthony, and for over 10 years, I've been helping men, women, and couples have the relationship of their dreams and the best sex of their lives.
All right, Kevin, well, let's go ahead and dive in. What does a man actually say when he's starting to feel love, deep love, for a woman?
Okay, we got to get the low-hanging fruit out of the way first, because this is an obvious one. But he'll actually say, I love you. Mm-hmm. Now, here's an interesting thing is, yes, it's low-hanging fruit, but when I say he'll say it, I mean he'll say it on his own, as opposed to being pressured. And that is one of the key differences, is a lot of times women will actually start to hint around or pressure it or say it and pause and wait for responses like, oh, I love you too, kind of thing. When that happens, he'll feel kind of obligated to say it. And so he may say it when he doesn't necessarily mean it. But when he actually does feel love for you and he wants to say that to you, he'll start saying it on his own without you prompting him, without you pressuring him, without you leading him into it. So if you notice that he starts to say that more frequently, right, without any sort of prompt, then you can bet that it's likely very sincere.
Yeah, women will often do this. I think some men do it as well, where they will say, I love you, to try to get the other person to say, I love you. So, I love you. And then the thing about that is, if you're trying to get something from him, if you're saying, I love you, to try to get him to say something back, it's like he is, now he's feeling like he's being controlled, right? He's feeling led. Like you're leading him like a little puppy dog, like, hey, say I love you. Say I love you. I said it. You got to say it now. And generally, that's not going to feel good to a masculine man. He wants to say it, like you're saying, out of his own volition. He's going to say it voluntarily because he's feeling that in his heart, and he wants to give you that gift of sharing what he's feeling. So yeah, that's a very good point.
So one, you don't want to lead him, but two, you don't want him to say it unless he actually means it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is a lot of times early on in a relationship, he's like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to say that yet. I'm not sure where I'm really feeling yet, but there's pressure to say it, so then he'll say it. The problem with that, though, is when you do pressure him to say it and he says it, now you can't really trust it. Did he say it because he really means it, or did he just say it to placate you because you've been putting all this pressure on him?
Yeah, that's such a good point. And yeah, he's going to be much more likely to actually reveal his true feelings, like you said, if it's coming from his own volition. And then also, the woman may be really hurt if he doesn't say I love you back. She's gonna feel like I put myself out there. And here's the thing: is actually a man does want to feel your heart. He wants to feel your vulnerability. So we're not saying don't say I love you first to a man. Of course, share it, but it's, where is it coming from? What place is it coming from? Is it because you actually are feeling it within your heart, and you feel this feeling of desire or love or connection, and you want to say, like, I feel love for you, I feel love, and being detached from the outcome, as opposed to, so that's the feminine. The feminine is detached from the outcome. The masculine is getting outcomes and getting results. So being detached from the outcome and just sharing, being vulnerably sharing I love you, is much different than saying I love you, trying to get him to love you back. So that would be an outcome. So what's the next thing that men say when they love you?
Okay, my list isn't really in order here, so I'm just going to pick the next one that I kind of want to talk about now. And this is a big one. I did a YouTube video about this on my channel also, and it's I've got you. Right? So this is a term that men will often use to say, hey, look, I'm here for you. I'm here to take care of you. You know, it's kind of the, you know, in bro terms, we'd say, I got your back, you know, but like with our women, we say, I got you. And these are words that when a woman hears this, it melts her instantly. However, he's not really going to say that unless he actually feels something for you. Because, it's not just a, yeah, don't worry, I'll get the trash kind of thing. It's more of a, like when a guy says that, it really means like, I'm here to support you. I'm here to be your king, right? Like I've got you in this life, in this partnership, right? So that's something that he's likely to say when he really starts to feel like he wants to step into that position of being your masculine man, of being responsible for not only your physical safety, but your heart.
Yeah, really awakening the protector, provider, hero instinct within a man.
Yes.
Of him feeling that sense of, like you said, responsibility for your happiness. That he is not just responsible for your happiness, but even responsible for your safety, you feeling safe, you feeling comfortable. And he's taking that on as like, I got you. I'm responsible. I'm holding the space for you. I'm taking care of you. And, if you're afraid, great. If other emotions come up, great. If you're feeling uncomfortable, let me know. Like, I got you. So I'm willing to go through the fire with you is another way of saying it. Like, whatever comes up, if you're going to have some chaotic emotions coming up of anxiety, of fear, upsetness, like let it out. And that's one thing me and my wife do often is we'll say, I'll say like, more. So like if she's getting upset and she's yelling, let's say, which happens pretty rarely, but something may happen. It's like more, like say, like, how else do you feel? Like, let it out. Like that's another thing I think a man will say if he loves you. It could come in different words, but it's this idea of like, give me more of you. Rather than some men would try to shut you down, which is a sign that he doesn't deeply love you, where he'd say like, no, you're too dramatic. Like, this is too much. Like, I need space. I need to take a break. Like, why don't you go chill out? Why don't you go in the car and scream? Which we do that sometimes as well. Like let the energy out. But if he's like actively like, how else do you feel? Like, give me more. What else did I do that made you upset? Like encouraging the emotional expression rather than trying to suppress your emotional expression. I feel that's a big sign that a man really cares.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, if he really loves you, he's not going to want to let the situation get any further out of hand or go any longer than it has to go. He's going to want to be there and say, hey, let's figure this out now, which is, another way of saying like, all right, give me more. Like, let's solve this. As men, we are problem solvers, right? So when a problem arises, we want to fix it. That's our sort of default mode. And so the only time we wouldn't want to do that really is if we just don't care all that much, right?
It's like,
right.
Solve your own problem. I don't care.
Right. But if we
I don't want to get involved.
If we are emotionally invested and we do love the woman that we're with, then we're going to want to sit there and try to work it out. Now, obviously, if she's being extremely emotionally irrational or, even physically violent or something.
Yeah, if she's being abusive, that's different. That's when he's going to set boundaries and be like, look,
right,
you can't talk to me like that. Or we don't do that in this house. That's one phrase I heard one of my friends use once. Like, we don't hit each other in this house. We don't hurt each other. We don't yell, whatever it is. Like, or just don't ever talk to me like that. That would be like a masculine man setting boundaries, that he's not being abusive back, but he's setting a clear boundary like, this isn't okay. But when you're simply having emotions come up that are about, maybe you had a parent that has an illness and you're really sad about it, you're really upset about it, or somebody else is doing something in your life to stress you out, and you're having a lot of these emotions and you're like breaking down, he'll be like, I got you. What else? Tell me more. Like, what do you need? What do you want? So we're getting into a lot of phrases here, I think, that go into like a man showing. But so you're getting the idea here of some of the phrases that will come up from a man. It first comes from the energetics of him actually feeling that he wants to help you, that he cares about you from a deep place, and he wants to go into it with you rather than shutting you down or pushing it away. As long as you're just simply sharing vulnerably from your feminine and not trying to control him, lead him, criticize him, attack him, that's where he's going to be activated. And that's one of the things that will activate more his hero instinct.
Yeah, and that idea is really captured beautifully in the lyrics to a John Mayer song, where he basically says, I don't care if we don't sleep at all tonight. Let's just fix this whole thing now.
Right? Wow. Yeah. He's like, I'm willing to set aside my schedule because you're more important, and we're going to figure this out because I don't want this to keep going. Like you said, continuing. Like, I want to handle this so that you can have peace and I can have peace.
Yes.
We can both be each other's peace.
Exactly.
Yeah. So awesome. What's the next one?
All right. The next one I got is sort of a variation on the I got you, but it's different still. And that's, we're a team. When he starts talking in terms of we are a team, that really shows that he's committed to you and that relationship, right? Because as men, we tend to be sort of, lone guns, we tend to stick to our bachelor lifestyle a lot, right? But when the right woman comes along and we really do fall for her, you'll start to notice that we start letting go of, the me's and the sort of bachelor way of thinking, and we become team, right? So that's a really good sign when he starts talking about, hey, we're a team, we're in this together, whatever happens, whatever situations arise, we'll work through it together. Like, those are clear signs that he is really in love with you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I was just at a wedding of one of our friends yesterday, like I told you, and just to witness this this act, and to be reminded of this act of marriage. What's often happening in marriage when a man commits, or when two people get married, they're combining their lives, they're combining their families. Because when we were at this dinner, there's like all the family was there. They're combining finances, they're combining they're combining activities, lifestyle, living situations often. So it's this idea that when a man is really seeing you as his partner, as someone he has deep feelings for, he wants to combine. He wants to, like, we are a unit. We're in this together, like you said. And to do that even with his actions as well, in those ways of like combining finances, combining families, friends. So if you're with a man who's not introducing you to his friends, he's not introducing you to his family, he's not if you're married and he still doesn't want to combine finances. I mean, I had even fears when I was getting married, or after I was married, of like combining finances. That was a scary thing for me. That was like one of the last pieces, and I actually had to talk to a love coach about that. He was a friend, but he had a call with me, and he's like, "Look, do you love Antia?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, then what are you waiting for?" And I just had to like get over these last humps of like, because it was more for me, like, I didn't know what that would do for her. And I was still in my development. This was like, 10 years ago. I was still in my development. Like, I didn't know, I didn't see like it was that big a deal. But then what I realized is that actually it was me combining in that way was how I show my love to her. Like, I felt love for her, and I wasn't fully showing it to her. And I'm like, I need to fully show this to her. Like, I want to give this as a gift to make her feel safe, that we are combined. We are a unit now. And so that's what I did, and it was great, and it helped her to relax.
The combining of finances is an interesting topic because it really comes down to trust and safety.
Yeah.
But in both directions. So it may be obvious that it comes down to trust and safety for her, right? That, okay, we're combining our finances. I know that, you're going to basically provide for me. I can relax now. Okay, that's part of it. But we have to also acknowledge the fact that as men, the way the legal system has been for so many years, that if the relationship doesn't work out, right, the man loses a significant portion of his wealth, especially if he had more coming into the relationship. So men,
whoever had more,
right? So, and it depends what state you live in, and there are some differences of the way courts will rule. But in general, men have been conditioned like, oh, I got to be careful because if it doesn't work out, I could lose half my money, right? And so men then become hesitant to start to combine finances. They'll hide things and not, talk about, certain investments or things that they have, right, out of that fear of if it doesn't work out. So from the man's point of view, when he actually says, hey, I'm committed to combining all of this, that obviously means that, he's interested in the long term, right? and he believes in the relationship and you enough that he doesn't fear that you're going to divorce him and take half his money.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, on the flip side of that, she feels like, oh, okay, I don't have all this pressure to also be out there in the male-dominated workforce and earn money, and because maybe I want to have kids and be a stay-at-home mom, and now that the finances are combined, I can relax and feel safe to do that. So it really is a safety and trust thing on both sides.
Yeah, it's important, and it's energetic as well. So finances we're just using as a model, but it's like the energetics of him like wanting to combine with you, wanting to be like we're a team together. Because then when we face problems, financial problems, health problems, family problems, we're facing them together, not we're competing and attacking each other. So that's his sign, and that's the way he'll use the language of we and our as a signal that he has energetically decided he wants to combine together with you. So
absolutely,
it's powerful. What's the next one, if you have another one there?
All right, I do have another one, and that is he'll start to talk about the future. Right. So you'll start planning about things that are, I don't mean the immediate future, because, people will do that. Oh, let's take a vacation together in 6 months, like that kind of stuff happens no matter what. But when he starts long-term talking about the future, about where you're going to live together, what kind of house you guys are going to live in, how many kids you want, like my wife and I, we used to talk about, what life would be like when we were in our 70s.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So like really projecting out into the future, like, wow, what would we do? Where would we be when we're 70 years old together? Where will we be living? What will we be doing? Right. And starting to think about those things and talk about those things. A man will absolutely not do that unless he absolutely is committed to you in that relationship.
Yeah, that's a great one. And now the big caveat with that one that I would add on is, because we hear this from some women, that guys will do this pretty early on in the relationship, and I actually would consider that a red flag if that's done too soon.
Yes.
Because then it's a sign likely. A lot of these things are also, you got to be careful with some of these, because even men who are watching this video right now, there may be some men watching this video, they're going to be like, oh, now I know what to say to a woman to make her think that I love her, right? So you always want to look to the actions, not just the words. And so a lot of these things that we're saying here, you also want to look to, is he using these things with you? Is he saying these things after you guys have been together for a while, right? Like several weeks, even several weeks is too soon, but probably several months. Because if he's using it sooner than that, if he's using it after a couple days of meeting you, a couple weeks, yeah, it's probably still too soon. He may just be using it as a technique to get in your pants, honestly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
This is actually some advice that I was giving in the community very recently. And that was, you can talk about these things early on, but how deep are you going in the subject? In other words, the advice I was giving to the woman in the community was, dating is the time which you are getting to know each other and you're assessing compatibility. So, asking about, hey, do you want to have kids early on? That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
Now, the question is how many do you have? When do you actually want to have them? Like what time? Like what schools will they go to? How, what medical things will you allow? Like that's the kind of stuff that if they do that early on, right from the beginning, that is potentially a red flag. But there's nothing wrong with, in the first few dates saying, well, what are your thoughts on children? Do you want to have children?
Yeah. I think what I've heard some stories of is like guys will say things like, I can't wait until we're married and I'm going to take you on this trip and we're going to do this, and I can't wait to travel Europe with you. This will be like, let's say on the first date, this would be like a straight example. Like he's saying, like he's basically painting this vision of a future of you together. Or like online dating scammers, I think will do this a lot too. And like, so I guess the difference between that and what you're talking about is also like the level of detail he's getting into, and also that he's honestly curious to hear your vision for the future too. Not just he's painting like this fantasy for you of like, oh, we're going to get married and we're going to have kids and we're going to travel the world and we're going to do this. And yeah, I love you. Like let's be together and let's sleep together and let's. It may not be always about just I want to have sex with you too. It could be guys can have all kinds of motives as humans can. He may want your money. He may want just to get some validation. Who knows? But those are good signs to look for, especially the level of depth, the level of if he's showing that interest in her as well, her visions,
Yeah,
too,
and
her goals.
So really the main title of this video is When He Deeply Loves You. Don't expect him to deeply love you in the first 2 weeks you've been dating, right? So
That's the key there.
The title of the video kind of already implies the fact that you've been together for a while and you've been working on developing a deeper level of relationship. And when you are in that place where you're developing that deeper level of relationship, that's when these types of conversations will start to come up. If he's like, yeah, I'm really feeling it.
Yeah, totally. So was that the last one on your list here?
I got one more.
Oh, one more. Okay, got it. I got some more too.
All right. This one is technically also low-hanging fruit, but I didn't want to start with it. And that simply is, will you marry me? If he really loves you,
there we go.
He will actually ask you to marry him.
Yes, that's key.
Sort of along the lines of what we were just talking about with the combining finances. A lot of men have been literally scared straight, so to speak, when it comes to marriage these days. The divorce rate is sky high. Again, the rules are not often applied evenly to men and women when divorce does happen. And a lot of guys have really become gun shy about wanting to get married. Of course, we have cultural influences today as well, where, there's a whole lot of, just, live together, but don't get married. Who needs the government? That kind of thing. And
it's just a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper. Well, yeah, I can tell you, I was one of those. It's just a piece of paper. Who cares? My love for you doesn't have anything to do with the government just because they sanction it. Yeah. But let me tell you, as soon as my wife got sick, was I glad that we had that paper, because I had rights with that paper that I would not have had, and I would not have been able to be there for her in a lot of situations if I wasn't legally married to her.
Wow. Yeah,
so
that's important. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good aspect to it.
It's huge. But anyway, the point is that with all of those pressures from society, sort of steering men away from marriage, if they do actually come to you and they're like, will you marry me? Or even if they just start talking about, hey, what do you think about getting married? Or, maybe would you like to get married sometime in the, next year or something? Like any sort of talk around that generally means that he's in love with you, because he's not going to have that conversation with you if he's not. It is,
unless it's the first date.
Well, yeah, but that's a huge red flag, right? If
although
on first date.
Like our friend who just got married, I was at the wedding yesterday. Her guy, the first date, he said, "I'm very sure about you," which is sort of a way of saying exactly that, like, I see you as like, so it can happen. I told my wife the first day we met, it was like day/evening, you are the girl from my story, which is sort of a way of saying like, you're my perfect girl, right? You're my ideal. I didn't say I want to get married, but I was like, sometimes guys will be very clear up front. So there's just a lot of trusting your intuition and some of the things we're talking about outside of this conversation, but there are keys where he will say something that almost is like, I want to marry you, even pretty quickly. So it is possible. If
he says he wants to marry you really quickly, definitely don't run off and get married. There's actually
just don't do it. But let's get to know each other more. Like you could say, oh, thank you, I'm flattered, and I'm excited to get to know you more.
So in my wife and our own friend community circle, over the years there had been several couples, 4-ish or 5-ish, who started dating and then very, very quickly got married, like within months of starting dating, some even shorter than that. And the interesting thing is the response from all of our friends was like, this is amazing, they know what they want, they're so in love, and everybody supported it and championed it. And out of all of those couples that really went quickly and got married really quick, there's only one left.
Wow.
None of the rest of them lasted. Why? Because they didn't take the time to get to know each other. They didn't take the time to find out if they shared common values, right? Yeah. And so eventually, the places where they were not in alignment reared their ugly heads.
Yeah.
cause the relationship to split. So this is why I say, no matter how much you're feeling in that initial period and those chemicals are flowing and you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing person who's absolutely perfect for me and we should run off and get married now. Don't. Just wait. Continue to date for a while. Get to know each other more, right? Go on trips together where you're cohabitating. I mean, different people have different beliefs on living together before you're married, and I respect whatever your beliefs are. But one of the good things about doing some sort of cohabitation is you learn real quick whether or not you can actually live with this person.
Now the problem with that is then you're probably have a lease together and you're stuck together.
Yeah, but that's a much smaller problem than we're married together and now we can't live together, right?
That's true.
Now, if you have beliefs around living together before you're married, that's fine, but that's where you get the opportunity to go take vacations and cohabitate
there's
together
other ways to do it,
for 2 weeks, right? If you can make it that 2 weeks, okay, that's
road
a good
trips,
start.
Road trips are good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bring out the best and the worst potentially. There was a good analogy also in golf, which is where if you have the club slightly off, like a couple millimeters, it can make huge differences as far as where the ball ends up. And that's the same in relationships. Is like those little differences may not seem like much when you first hit the ball and you're just like a couple days, couple seconds in, but then it makes a lot of difference down the road. So yeah, that's why time is a great tool for relationships to gauge.
You have to keep in mind that for at least the first year, if not the first year and a half, and sometimes up to 2 years, you're in what's called the honeymoon period. What that means is there are chemicals being produced in your body that literally prevent you from thinking clearly. You are high on those chemicals, and some people, when they're high on those chemicals, are still capable of making good, rational decisions. And other people absolutely are not. And so they will do things like run off to Vegas or Hawaii or Bali or whatever it is and get married, only to end up divorced 6 months or a year later.
Yeah, it's very painful when that happens. So be careful out there. But we got a couple other quick ones I wanted to go through. I have some from my list as well. I'm going to pick one that we haven't covered yet. That's a good one. One thing a man will say if he deeply loves you is, we covered we, us. How are you feeling? So I think this is a good one because a man who is feeling deep feelings of love for you, he wants to check in, sort of related to I got you. It's like, how are you doing? But not just like the surface level, like, oh, how are you? More like, are you happy? Right? Like a masculine man, if he feels deep feelings of care, devotion, love for you, he's going to feel good and he's going to feel like a winner and he's going to feel meaning and purpose in his life when he knows that you are happy and you're feeling good and you're feeling safe and you're comfortable and it's all good. And if you're not, if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, if you're super anxious chronically, things like that, he's going to feel like I'm not doing a good job. I'm not being a good partner. Like, I got to fix this. As a man, I feel responsibility here. I want to help and I want to fix this. And so if he's not feeling that, if he's not checking in and caring about what's your deep emotional state and asking this question probably pretty regularly, like just how are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? Or if he's unsure of something, how are you feeling right now? I'll ask that to my wife. I ask it pretty much every night. I'll say, how's the schnuck? So that's the nickname I have for my wife. Call her the schnuck. She calls me the schnuck too, but it's a German thing, sort of. Like she's from Germany. So I'll say, how are you? And basically, how are you doing? That's my way of saying, like, how are you doing? Like, what's really going on? And she'll tell me, like, I'm good, I'm tired, I'm a little sad, whatever might come up. And it's beautiful. And I want to help. I want to learn more about it. I want to ask her questions and see what I can help, if any way, or just be there for her.
Yeah, I love that you brought this one up. So there's that, right? There's like, how's the schnook every day, right? So that's a possibility. But a practice that my wife and I used to teach to our couples clients all the time was to do regular check-ins. And the interval, you can play with a little bit. But like what we used to do is at least once a year, we would sit down and sort of do a state of the relationship, talk. And it doesn't have to be anything like, oh God, we gotta have that talk again.
We need to talk.
Yeah, it's not a we need to talk. It's just like, hey, it's been another year. How are we doing? Are we both still happy with how the relationship is going? Is there anything that we would like to change? Are there things that are going well that we'd like to expand on, right? It doesn't have to be all the negative stuff. It's not just a moment to complain about what's happening, but it could be a moment to talk about the wins, right? To celebrate the successes of the relationship. But the idea is to have that moment where you get to just check in, because it's so easy. We get caught up with all the things we have to do in life, and time just starts to just fly by. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, it's summer already. Oh, it's Christmas already. Oh, it's summer again. Like, where did the time go, right? And during that time, it's easy to forget to actually ask those simple questions. How are you? Mm-hmm. How are you feeling? Mm-hmm. Is this relationship still working for you? And if not, is there something that we could potentially change to make it better?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Me and my wife used to call those VIP days. So when we were first dating, we would do this more often when we were first, shortly after we got married, when things were like just something felt like it was off in the relationship, or we were having some conflict. We'd be like, okay, we're going to go to the coffee shop. We're going to sit down, and I want to go through a process. And these are some questions I would ask her. So this is some other things a man may say if he's deeply in love with you. I would ask her, and this is something I learned, it's called the open dialogue technique, but it's how are you feeling? So I'd get clear on what are the surface level feelings she's having, and then I would go deeper. Why are you feeling that way? So she'd say, like, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, or I'm upset, I'm sad. And I would say, why are you feeling that way? So we get clear on, like, what's the problem? And then the last part would be, what do you want? And so I would just help unpack that for her, because he's kind of digging deep into you of like, I want to know what's going on with your heart. I want to know what's going on in your heart and your soul and your body, so I can make things great for you. I can make you feel more pleasure. I can make you happier. I can make you feel safe, protected. That's how I'm going to feel good as a man. That's how I feel a sense of meaning and purpose, and just like everything's good in my life. Now I feel peace. So he'll dig in that level. Those are some other good questions he will ask. And then I would try to find solutions. So like, all right, well, that's what you want. This is what I want. Like, what if we did things this way? What if we did it a little differently? What if we spent time what if we took Saturdays off? What if we did these? Or we were hanging out, we're going on more trips, or we plan a trip. So whatever the problem was, we would figure out, as the man, it's usually better, it is better if the man, you inspire him through that process to solve it. He comes up with the solutions. You just present the problem of how you feel. And we talk about this, and we teach this in our memberships and magnetic feminine communication. But you share the problems and let him solve the problems and come up with the solutions. You could, of course, sort of guide him and share, and he'll ask you more questions, and you can ask to share more if he didn't really get it. But then you guys can have hopefully a win-win.
Yeah, and an important part about that is, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, what if he comes up with a solution I don't like? Right? You create the space, you allow him to come up with the solution, but then of course you can obviously offer feedback and you can work together. So like the example that I always used to give when coaching couples is, okay, you want to go out for dinner, right? And rather than him saying, oh, where do you want to go? Whatever you want to do. He'll say, okay, you expressed a desire to go out to eat tonight. Maybe you want the night off. You don't want to cook. Great. I have an idea. How about we go here and do this? But that's different from saying, this is where we're going and you have no choice, right? This is saying, how about we do this? I have a plan. Now, you might hear that plan and go, oh, yeah, I normally like that place, but I'm just really not feeling it tonight for whatever reason. Right? Okay. So then what he should do is say, okay, no problem. I got another plan. How about we do this? So he's coming up with solutions, but he's also taking into account your feedback, and he's not forcing those solutions on you. That's a healthy masculine-feminine dynamic.
Yeah. And when he does lead and he is giving solutions and he is taking action, you can always share your feelings around it. So you can always speak up and say, may I share something with you? You can say, sure, and say, when you came up with this idea, I feel, or you could just start with the emotion, I feel anxious. And why do you feel anxious? Because with this plan you came up with, it sounds really great, and I'm telling myself a story that it could cause some issues later because of XYZ, and I don't know what to do. So you get him back to him as a different problem to solve. It's like a related problem. Now he's like, oh, I didn't think about that, or oh, I didn't know you felt that way. Okay, what if I did it this way, or what if I come up with a solution, or what if we? And he'll ideally come up with a new solution for that new problem. So you can continually be in this dance with your man, where you from the feminine, sharing, being vulnerable, being open, your heart, and if there's a problem, sharing that with him, and then he can solve the problem, make you happier, fix the problem, and then you can share your gratitude, your appreciation, your feelings of joy for what he did. Or you could share another problem, and then he could fix it, and you can get into these nice cycles where he's sort of this feedback loop together, where he as the man knows constantly kind of where you're at. Because if you might say, well, my guy doesn't ask me how I'm feeling. Well, you could still share your feelings, and you just ask permission for it. And you would say, may I share a feeling I'm having? Or may I share something that's coming up for me? And he would say, sure. Say, I feel sad right now. Why do you feel sad? And then you can share what it is, what the problem is, or the story related to the problem, and then let him step in to solve it. Because you could say, I don't know what to do, or may I have some help with that? And he can start to solve it. And that's some of the key elements of feminine communication, some of the pieces there that'll really help you to magnetize him. So that's important. And then let's do a quick rapid fire of a couple other quick ones. We mentioned a lot of these. One good one is, I want you to feel safe. If a man is actually verbally telling you, like, I want you to feel safe, or I want you to feel comfortable, that's a very good sign. He has care for your heart for a lot of reasons we already discussed. And another good one is, I'll fix it for you. So that's another sign of a man wanting to solve problems. He's proactive, like he's seeking problems from you, like what's wrong. And then, but more importantly than him wanting to know what's wrong is him wanting to fix it, and him saying he will fix it, and he does fix it. Whether that's your car's having issues, your computer having issues, or that there's an issue in the relationship of you not feeling like he's communicating with you enough, or him not, he's not showing care for you in other ways, or he's doing things that are hurting you potentially. You can share with him in the vulnerable feminine way, which is not attacking him, not trying to tell him what to do. So you have to do it in the right way that we teach you. But then he's going to feel more inspired. But the fact that he wants to fix it is a good sign.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If he really loves and cares about you, he wants to make your life easier. And this is something that I think there's a big misconception around, because I hear it all the time when coaching people. From a man's point of view, we want you to be happy. We absolutely want you to be happy. If we are going to be in a relationship with you, we want you to be happy. When you're happy, we're generally happy, right? So we want to serve. We want to do things that make you happy. The problem is that a lot of times women don't see it that way. They don't realize that we're actually trying to make them happy, and they don't create scenarios that actually allow us to do that, right? And so then the women tend to build up a lot of resentment. So just the understanding that we do actually indeed want to make you happy, and we want to take care of these things for you, as long as you let us know that you have these needs or feelings, and then you create space that allows us to step up and meet those needs.
Yeah, and so it's a powerful assumption for you to have, to assume, because assumptions are dangerous for relationships, but they can be actually empowering if you choose consciously the right assumptions, to actually assume that he wants to help you, assume that he has good intentions, assume that he is wanting to be protector, provider, hero for you. Now, of course, he may not always be doing that, but if you start by acting from that assumption that he does want to help you, rather than what a lot of people will do and a lot of women will do in relationships often, is assuming men want to hurt me, men want to take advantage of me, he wants to cheat on me, he wants other women, he has bad intentions for me, or assuming that he's not capable of giving you what you need. And then so you end up acting from that, of starting to mother him or starting to lead him because you don't believe he actually is going to do it on his own. So you're like, here, let me help you. Show me how to love me. Like, I'm going to help you. Like, I'm going to correct you, and I'm going to remind you of things, and I'm going to suggest what you do, and I'm going to subtly criticize you or be sarcastic. All these little things will come out when you're operating from the belief that he he or men in general don't want to help you, that they're not trustworthy, that they don't want to protect you because you've probably been hurt in the past. You have had men do bad things. But if you bring that into new relationships, and if you operate from that assumption, it never will give him the chance to step out of that. And the masculine's deepest needs are to be trusted and respected. The feminine's deepest needs are to be adored and to be cherished. So by you leading with trusting him and respecting him, he's going to be more likely to lead with giving you cherishment. Is that a word?
It is.
He's going to cherish you, and he's going to adore you. So if you want to be cherished and adored, you got to respect and trust him. That's how you start to formulate a healthy polarized relationship. It may be hard. It may take some courage. It's going to feel scary, vulnerable, but that's what can start to shift your relationship, by that action and courage of vulnerability.
Yeah, just don't fall for the narrative that, he doesn't care or he's not interested or men are just there to hurt you. When he is in a relationship with you and he loves you, which again is the topic of this video, like how do you know that he's actually in love with you? He wants the best for you, and he wants you to be happy, and he wants to help you in any way he can be that.
And if a man doesn't show that care and all the things we talked about in this video over time, you're going to want to first off do a process of what we recommend, the Magnetic Feminine 90-Day Challenge, where you can go through a process for 90 days of actually practicing what we're talking about here and how to actually operate from magnetic feminine polarity, magnetic feminine communication. And then after 90 days, if he hasn't shifted and shown you that devotion, it's likely he's not capable of it. There is a percentage of men, maybe 5% or so, I would guess, that are sociopaths, narcissists. They're emotionally broken in some way. They're mentally broken. They're avoidant attachment. That like an extreme version where they're not capable of giving you what you want, or they just have no care for you. And that's totally possible. But likely he's going to start shifting. Even if he is some of those cases, he'll start shifting his heart towards you and giving you what you need, or it becomes very clear he's just not the right one, in which case you're going to have to be willing to walk away to hold your value as a queen, that you're going to attract a king that's going to take care of you in that way. So that's what we help you with. If this was helpful to you today, highly recommend taking our free feminine polarity quiz. This is going to help really pull this all together to you to actually have a man deeply love and devote himself to you, by going to polarityquiz.com, or you can click on the link in the description or comments below this training, or on the bio, depending on where you're watching this, to get that. And or you could also follow Kevin on his social media. Do you want to tell them about that as well?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook at Kevin and Celine. You can find me on Instagram at Real Kevin and Celine. You can find me on YouTube at Kevin and Celine as well. And of course, check out the Love Lab podcast, where you get every week an hour-long episode. I interview some of the most amazing guests, as well as doing my own shows where I cover a lot of these topics in depth.
All right, much love. Hope this was helpful. See you in the quiz, hopefully, polarityquiz.com, and we will talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.